hear if they're struggling is, it's okay, you'll get better. They're there, or just keep fighting, those type of like cliche terms where it's like, no, I've really hit a wall and that's not helping. I would say in a situation like that, just say it's a spectrum, right? All of us who may be stressed out or struggling with low moods on certain days, we are human beings. We're emotional beings. Your moods are going to change. That's not pathological. And I tell people that all the time. But all I would say in a situation like that is just to respond and say, you're absolutely right. There are people who are struggling on different levels. And my message was just a voice of encouragement. That's it. Because even if a person is sitting in front of a doctor, they're still going to be encouraged. I encourage people all day, every day. That's not all that I say, but your post wasn't meant to necessarily fix it for everyone, right? It was to say, I see you, I hear you. A lot of people, when they're depressed and there aren't any immediate solutions like what we're in right now, like, let's just be real. We've never lived through a pandemic. And so you don't always have the answers. You have to emphasize to people, okay, well, let's be patient. Let's take it one day at a time. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But what about people who've lost their jobs, whose kids are at home, who are facing eviction, who have all of this going on? Yes, they are really struggling. And it's going to take more than just kind words to help them overcome the situations that are causing them to be depressed. What I've seen more, obviously, with the pandemic is, we see people who have what we call situational depression all the time. And this is a huge example of that, because how am I going to feel better when I look at my bank account and it's in the negative? And my major stress, the number one stress of all Americans, is finances. So when it comes down to it, and even what I'm seeing is more and more people are depressed, not only because of the isolation, but also because of where it has left them financially. And I think that's why it's so important that we keep having these conversations where it's not just regurgitating what our problems are, but really equipping people with solutions. So you support them, you tell them, hey, 100%, I understand that depression is real. I understand that there are different levels to depression and how they impact people, and encourage them, if they are struggling, to speak to a professional.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Ladies first, then Bob.
All right. For those individuals who do not have insurance and cannot afford to see a professional person, or they feel like they cannot afford to see a professional person, what resources are available to them?
So for that, I would look at nonprofit organizations. The one that I'm most familiar with in Illinois, in Chicagoland area, is called Sister Afia.
What is it?
SISTAAFYA. This is a colleague of mine who recently, she opened her practice maybe like 4 years ago, but it is a nonprofit. So donations that she gets for her organization, she uses that to offer free therapy. So you can go to her website. Her name is Kamisha Jones. She's also a mental health professional. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She is a graduate also of University of Chicago. But you'd have to identify nonprofit organizations that do provide free therapy. I know that Taraji P. Henson also launched her organization, the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, I think it is, BLH. She raised a lot of money, especially during the pandemic, to be able to offer free therapy services. And I think hers incorporates more than just therapy, but also physicians. So I would encourage you to check out her website as well, because that's a national, national platform. So I believe that as far as the number of providers, there would be more of a volume.
And somebody said, what about Bobby Wright? What about Bobby Wright? Is that
Bobby Wright.
Is that a
Kedzie.
nonprofit too in Chicago?
Bobby Wright.
And then also a lot of people who don't have insurance, a lot of practices will provide a sliding scale based on your income. So some places, if you have no income, they will have extremely low cost for sessions, like $20, $15. So a lot of places do offer out of pocket on a sliding scale. But for free, I would look at the nonprofits for sure.
All right, and Bob has a question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Napatia.
Hi.
So, all right, if I try to surround myself with positive, uplifting people,
Okay.
how do I know the difference on the other end of the spectrum to where someone's, even before the pandemic, was just always sees the negative in things? How do I know when that person's actually seriously depressed and needs help versus just like a constant everyday complainer?
That's a really good question, because some people who have certain personality traits can also chronically be negative, and it's not necessarily a byproduct of major depression. So we are when it comes to Western medicine, we have a very kind of strict symptom criteria to diagnose someone having major depression. So if you wanted to explore further with that individual and they were willing to open up, you could start asking them certain questions that would highlight potential symptoms of underlying depression. But if they are kind of denying that and they're otherwise seemingly to function normally and not appearing sad, not showing clinical signs of depression, I would be looking more to other reasons why that person may be that way. I mean, some of it could just be your upbringing. It could be
Right.
that, this is the example that was given to you. Again, going back to personality. Personality is huge in psychiatry. We spend a lot of time learning about personality disorders. We don't hear a lot about that just in regular combo, you know what I mean? But trust and believe, there are some personality disorders out there, okay? So when you start to see that pattern of negativity, it's not always depression, but you can ask questions that are specific to depression. And those symptoms, our manual is called the DSM-5. For those of you who are not familiar, it's called the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. And right now, the most current version is version 5. So if you just look up major depression, diagnostic criteria, you can see what myself or any other clinician would be asking someone who we suspect may have depression.
Providing they even answer honestly.
What'd you say?
I said, providing that the person you're talking to answers honestly. I think like you'd mentioned, there's such a stigma.
It's a huge stigma. I can't tell you how many people I see who are like, I can't even believe I'm here. I don't talk to psychiatrists or people. Here's the thing. If y'all don't take anything else away, this is my piece on it. We as human beings have different organ systems and they all function together. Unfortunately, when it comes to brain functioning, we tend to convince ourselves that when certain things with our brain are not functioning optimally, that we should be able to fix it, that we should be in control, right? But you don't have that same stance. If I tell you, oh, well, Bob, you've got hypertension, and it's really, really bad. And yeah, you could go home and eat green kale for the next 2 weeks, but your blood pressure still may be high. Let me give you this lisinopril to help you get that under control. It's not even just, you're not stigmatized. You'll tell someone, right? Yeah, my doctor's put me on a little high blood pressure medicine, but tell someone you went to see a psychiatrist because your mood wasn't in a good place and you started taking Lexapro, the world's gonna end. Okay? Right. So what I'm saying is, and then when it comes to the brain, we even have prejudice, because if I have a stroke and I'm depressed, or let's say I crash my motorcycle and now I have a brain injury, right? And so now I have a really bad temper, because I have head trauma, right? You're not going to see that as the same. If I have seizures and I take medicine for that, you're not going to say, well, that's your brain. You should be able to just snap out of it. You're not going to tell someone to snap out of seizures. So why do we, if we know our brain is responsible for movement, sensation, mood, your circadian rhythm, all these different things, why do we compartmentalize and say, oh, well, if you're depressed or you're anxious, you should just push through, pray on it, take it to Jesus, and it's going to be okay. And I say take it all to Jesus. But at the end of the day, if you have tools that your prayers have led you to, don't be the person to walk away and say, yeah, no.
And I want to, I don't know if this is the last question, but I really want, if you could deal with this a moment. So there are some things that in the Black community historically, as we grew up by and large, and Bob, I'm not leaving you out because you may have had these same things.
No, I'm curious because I was raised in a strict home, so I'm wondering where this is going.
Well, no, it's not a strict thing. It's really maybe maybe not a lot of not the right information kind of thing. And so, Napatia, what I do every day on the radio, where my heart is every single day, every time I open that mic, where my mind and my heart is to talk to the people, to encourage them, because I know so many people are living beneath their ability.
Yes.
Because they just can't get to where they need to get to, but they got all the talent, all the gifts, really all the skills. So many are doing skills and have the skill set that they're running companies, but they have a secret desire of running it for themselves, but they can't push through that because maybe some of the negative they have seen, the being told no, watching people around them not support them and things like that, because if you don't see success, it's hard for you to be success. And so the whole thing is, what would you say to encourage from a clinical perspective, our people, so that we know you got it, it's in you. You couldn't do it over there unless you could do it.
Yeah.
So let's do it for yourself because you want to live at the higher level. Sometimes we're going to be down sometimes. We're going to be broke sometimes. We're going to be confused sometimes. We may be depressed sometimes. But it is a whole lot more fruitful to be depressed, down, broke sometimes on the top of the mountain than in the valley.
Yeah. I think as far as what you're kind of hinting on is where self-worth and self-esteem comes into the picture. And when you think about having a healthy sense of self and valuing yourself and being okay with not being okay and being able to have those conversations openly and honestly, like you said, it goes back to what examples you've seen because you can't be what you didn't see. So when I look generationally and you think about post-slavery on into Jim Crow, on into fast forward, what messages have we been sent about loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves? Even in the Black community, people still refer to depression as, I just had a nervous breakdown. And I think that's a really important statement. Like, I just couldn't take any more. Absolutely. Right? It speaks to the level of burden that has been on us. And I know before, in a previous, this was a while back, we had talked about the post-traumatic slavery syndrome and that being kind of introduced as a theory as to why we may struggle when it comes to how we see ourselves, our place, our worth, and our value. And one of the major risk factors for depression is low self-esteem. So a lot of us come from households where, strict kind of crosses the line of abusive, but it was normalized, right? Because that's just how we raise our kids and that's just what we do. And we teach pushing through and not being weak and so many lessons where you have to go back and really dig deep in and ask yourself, what was I taught? What have I been taught about taking care of myself? Not just on a mental health standpoint, but overall health, spiritual, physical, everything. What have you been taught? What have you been taught about being able to admit when you need help? because a lot of people are just trying to keep on this armor of, I got this, which is good. But at the same time, you still got to take care of you because you can't pour from an empty cup. So at what point can we accept help and just be okay with the fact that we need some help? I feel like we've been forced for so long to grin and bear that we still grin and bear when we don't have to. And I'm going to add grin, bear, and deny. That's the, yeah.
And I want to.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just like you were saying, like I said, dealing with family thing with not just with this going on, but dealing with a death. I have been suggesting this to family for so long. Let's get some counseling together. We don't have to do it by yourself.
Yes.
But then they after the fact, and like I said, in our culture, I believe that so many people, we're so pretenders, always trying to put on a face for other people that we don't realize that we need to take care of ourselves. Like I said, on the plane, you put your oxygen mask on first before you can take care of somebody else. Right. And like you said before, I think I heard probably on AC Green's show, somebody said, we can go to a specialist for everything else, but we refuse to go. God created you all. My oldest daughter is a therapist. Mm-hmm. That's a gift that God gave you all. Yeah. But also in the Bible, it talks about getting good counseling. Those who are believers,
absolutely,
it's in the Bible to get good counseling. And that's why I said, I thank God that I, even through death, decided, well, if nobody else do, I'm going to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
To keep my sanity.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this too. The stigma is not just in our culture. Psychiatry in America has a horrific history. Okay. And it's because we didn't understand brain function, right? So when people are out of control, what do we do to control them? Lock them up, time to bed, give them something that's going to help them go to sleep for a few hours until we figure this out. But
give them a lobotomy.
Even ECT, all of the things that were done experimentally. And now when you even think about it, if I'm depressed and I'm suicidal, like I really want to die, I have a plan, and someone is trying to keep me safe, the option for me to get treatment is to go to a hospital, to a locked unit where, I don't care if it's Northwestern or Rush or whatever, it's a locked unit. I may be on there with people with psychotic disorders. I can't walk off. Whatever the case may be, that's not always a therapeutic environment for everyone. So that's something else that will turn people away, because I'm already said I don't necessarily want to be locked up and be, body searched and taking my shoelaces and all that. Did I go to get help or did I just go to jail? So that's where you see a lot of people too, like, no, I'm good. Just keeping in mind that the reputation and history that mental health has, it crosses all cultures in terms of people not wanting or trusting that system. So that we get, but I feel like us as African Americans and the history we have in this country, we've had to grin and bear. People didn't always care if something was wrong. So we had to, no, I'm good. We have to kind of get out of that. And like you said, AC, get to a level where you really understand how going to counseling and really developing more as a person will help you in all areas of your life. It's not just about being sick. So if you look at it like, okay, yeah, I'm okay, but I could be better. I could go talk to someone and really work on some things. It doesn't have to be an emergency. But I'm curious though, Janice, what did your family say when you, made that recommendation and said, let's get therapy as a family?
You know what? After my husband's death, was going on 2 years, it was someone was doing it. It was a 6-week program. We started off with 12. I invited my in-laws, my immediate family. I think probably about 4 or 5 of us completed the whole program. Okay. And last year in July, my sister lost her son. Said, I wish I would have listened to you.
Okay.
Because he battled with epilepsy.
Okay. And
his goal was to be a professional football player, but through it all, he was starting to medicate. He had medication, but we know people use
other things.
Coping mechanism, negative coping mechanism, drinking, the smoking, whatever.
Absolutely.
But he was warring with that, and she didn't get it till after the death. It was too late then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and another thing I'm hearing too, this is bothering me, with senior citizen homes. I don't know if you have any suggestion or anybody have suggestion, how can we help them? Because I'm hearing too often, whereas this is a senior citizen home, that's their apartment, not allowing family members to come in to see the family. I had one family member tell me that her grandmother literally said, I'd rather be in a nursing home to see people because I'm not getting visitors.
Yeah, that's bad. It's so bad.
You mean because of COVID?
Yeah, because of COVID.
Yes, yeah. But I'm saying that's their living facility. I told her, you need to get the police and do a wellness check, because if even the management are not they're not checking on the senior citizens. They're in the home, like you said, isolated.
Yeah.
Nobody to come see them. I said, well, you better become an urgent care person and go see your grandmother. Do what you need to do. That's their living facility. Yeah.
Right, but are they allowing her to see her loved one through this type of a modality? Because I know even in hospitals, when people have unfortunately been in the ICU and sick with COVID,
this is their living facility, just like their apartment. They should be able to come and go. Somebody should be able to come, at least one person from your family, to see you.
I agree.
I'm not understanding why. And then the employees are not checking, or the securities are not doing wellness check. My mom lives in a senior building, but we're able to see her. But if we was not, something differently would have been done, because I know they don't do wellness check. Because too many people done died in there and people didn't know. But because we check on my mom on a regular, they supposed to do wellness check on the residents. They're not doing it. So do anybody have any suggestions? I said, get the police and do a wellness check on your family member. I suggested that.
I said, whatever you got to do.
That's what I said.
I mean, I'll just say, when I was in residency to earn additional income, I used to work at nursing homes,
but that's not a nursing home. That's a senior building. That's their apartment, their living facility where people.
Right, I hear what you're saying. Like, it's more of an assisted living, it's not a nursing home. But
yes, they're able to come and go, but they're not allowing family to come in. Your homemakers can come in. I said, well, you better become a homemaker that day and go see your brother.
I have a question. If they're allowing homemakers,
yes,
why are they not allowing a relative?
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I told her. I said I would not accept that. I would not accept that.
Okay. But they didn't give a reason.
No, they're not giving a reason. They saying because of COVID, but that's their living facility. Someone in the family should be able to check on their relative.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I said that hurt my heart to say that she'd rather be in a nursing home where some of them are not getting good care there.
I get what you're saying. You're saying she would rather leave this assisted living and go to a full-time nursing home because that's how
she wants interaction.
Interaction. Yes.
She wants interaction.
Can they go out? Is she able to go out?
I don't think she physically can go out, but somebody probably can come and take her out.
Right. Are they allowing that? That's what I was asking.
I believe they can come and go, but I just said, you know what? I wouldn't accept
I would just have them really check the policies and make sure that they're appropriate, and try to get some explanations as to why.
Because if you got your mask and gloves on, you're going just to your grandma's apartment. What they have to do with the other people?
Right. So.
But my suggestion said, do what you have to do to see. I would do what I have to do to see my mom or my grandma. So
I would do whatever I had to do to see mine too.
Absolutely.
I just would. Dr. Gettings, could you give people your social media so they can follow you?
Yes, absolutely. I'll put it in the chat too. So you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram at Dr. Gettings. So at DRGETTINGS, and my website, where you can also look at my library, where I have more information about some of the things we talked about tonight: brain health and moods and things of that nature, sleep hygiene. My website is drgettings.com.
drgettings.com. All right. Dr. Geddes, thank you so much. I know this is your time, and you gave it freely. I appreciate
Thank you so much.
Make sure you tell your husband Jeff I said what's happening.
I will.
I'm sure this is your family's time right now. You know,
I'm at work right now. I do have one more person to see today, but it's all good, you know. But yes, Justin's with the kids. So
Justin, I don't want to call him Jeff.
Got a team effort.
Yeah.
Were you working out when you were waiting on the call? Were you working out when you were waiting on the call? Saw you moving.
Yeah, I have a walking workstation. It's by lifespan, so it keeps me from sitting all day. So I get to go up to 2 miles an hour. I'm at 4 miles today.
Okay,
that's all right.
Yeah.
I saw you on your Facebook. You're waiting for your what is that workout? The cycle.
Oh, the Peloton. Yeah, so I'm completely in love with Peloton. They have the cycling bike, they have the treadmill, but for those people that don't want to order any equipment, they offer an app that is, I think, like $30 a month. So many workouts. Like, I mean, it's look, I can't even. Like, my neighbor got a bike and she recommended it to me, and then once I started the app, I'm gone. So yeah.
Peloton.
Peloton, yes. I mean, not only do they have pre-recorded classes, they have live classes. It's just so much motivation, and it gives you, again, a sense of community, because it's almost like not just participating, but it's almost like a social media platform as well, because you have your own page. People can follow you. They can see what workouts you've done.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's really nice. So, yeah.
Well, look at this. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate all of you, and peace and blessings to everybody. Yes. I know we living through some rough times. We all just gonna keep pushing forward. So thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk about mental wellness.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Again, yes.
Really appreciate it.
All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Great. That was wonderful. Thank you.